Hello, and welcome to this bonus episode of The Compressor Guru. Today, the guru goes out on a call. The customer thinks they have a bad pressure switch. When he described the symptoms, the guru knew what he was getting into. This is oftentimes not a bad pressure switch. Join us now as we join the guru to see how he fixes this problem.
Hi, welcome back to the Compressor Guru. We're out on a very common misdiagnosis today. Got a call from Midway Collision. We've been here before. We have an episode where we actually changed this pressure switch, and we did a puff piece on advertising their business. I think they came out both pretty good. That's beside the point. Owner called me last night, said, hey, the switch is leaking. This is, there's an electric valve. This is an electric switch, and there's a valve that when this switch opens, it opens the valve and bleeds the pressure from here to this check valve so that the compressor starts with less load and starts easier. Well, this check valve goes bad, and I get calls from customers and they go, hey, I need a pressure switch. My pressure switch started leaking. So I take a pressure switch and a check valve and go out to the job, and 99 times out of 100, this check valve has gone bad, and this check valve is leaking, putting the air into here, coming up to the pressure switch, and leaking up here. So the problem's down here, but the symptom's up here. So we're going to take a couple minutes. We're going to change this. It's a simple, quick job. This is a bonus episode because it doesn't constitute a real technical thing, and it's a quick little repair. So we're going to take, and first thing we're going to do is we're going to break a couple lines loose. We're going to break this line loose. It's a 7/8. Wasn't that tight? That's a good thing. We're going to break this line loose just so we can manipulate. Oh, we're upside down, so we have to go backwards. Okay, run this out. That's out of the way. By the way, the compressor is turned off. We take off our 1/4-inch pipe copper fitting that goes to the pressure switch. That noise is a desiccant tower cycling. Might as well take this out now because it'll go in the new valve.
Well, if you want me to...
That's why I get paid the big bucks.
Yep. So, the reason I'm putting this back in, this is an internally flared fitting, and it will crush very easily. So when you put the nut back in it to hold the tube, you can put more pressure on it with a wrench and not damage the fitting.
Because I think the compressor guru is forgetting what he was doing here.
No, the compressor guru knew exactly what he was doing. Now, in other videos, I've told you to stay on the outside here. I'm still going to stay on the outside, but if I wasn't staying on the outside, there's a better chance to save the fitting if I even move because that nut's in there. And I gotta bend a little bit. Oh, ho, 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 ho. We're going to need a vise, because that's not
coming out of the tank.
Yes.
Well, maybe this isn't as easy as the compressor guru thought.
Well, it's easy. We'll just be doing a vise.
Do we have a vise?
I hope they have a vise. Fortunately, our shop's only a couple miles from here if they don't have a vise. Okay, now we have an issue. I've drained the pressure most of the way down, and I'm going to sneak in another turnout, see if I feel any air breathing.
I do.
I do too.
The camera wife will just back up a little while this
Go to
is...
the other side of the room. I catch this with a hand. It's low pressure, but this is not the way we're to do things. Back up a little bit, seriously. Now that we're deaf,
You can't usually see air coming out, but I can see air coming out.
you saw the moisture in the air.
Yeah,
coming
isn't
out.
that wild? Look at it. You can see the air still coming out
And
of
if you
there.
feel it, it's cold. That's the
Get
that's the
your hand.
moisture. That's like a fog.
Yeah, that's wild.
Okay. Look at this valve. This should be flush up against the bottom there. The spring's going bad, and in these little holes here we can see the flapper, and it looks like it's all the way up all around, but we know it's leaking. So we're going to turn this out. We're going to take this out, and we're going to put a 3/4 valve in. This is a 1/2 inch. We're going to, I didn't have a 1/2 inch valve, so we're going to take this bushing out and move it out.
It is still leaving air out of there.
It's okay, babe.
That's amazing. Well, I just think it's amazing.
I Okay, so here's the old valve, and here's the new valve. We're replacing the 1/2 inch with the 3/4 because I didn't have a 1/2 inch valve on the truck. But it was real simple. We're going to use the bushing that came out of the tank and put into the 3/4 into the female side, and use all the same hardware over. This already has a little bit of pipe dope on from the manufacturer, but we like to make a mess. Do that again. And the port to the 1/4 inch copper tubing was basically straight up, and we'll have it back in a straight up position here in a second. There we go.
Because you did it with your
Pipe
back
dope.
to me. Yeah.
Sorry. This is not the same on both ends. One end is for compression fitting, the other is 1/8 inch pipe. This is the fitting I took out of the tank. This is the fitting I took out of the tank for the 1/2 inch valve. And it's going to go in the female side of the new check valve. And it'll work perfect. And then we'll put the hardware to go to our exhaust tube into...
Oh, and that's
There.
just the piece of hardware.
Yep, this is just a elbow fitting. And this is a 325-pound pop-off. They put a 325 on the copper pipe. If you put a 200-pound pop-off on here, because these run so hot, these pop-offs, the spring loses its tension and will pop off at much lower pressures. And I've had battles with boiler inspectors because they didn't like the 325, and you have to explain it to them. And 325 is protecting this pipe, not this tank, because there's a 200 psi pop-off protecting this tank. Okay, pipe dope, real simple. That really was all there was to it. It's very simple. We were leaking up here at the unloader on the pressure switch, which indicates we had a bad check valve. We changed our check valve. We even changed the size of the check valve, and just used our heads, putting everything together. Used pipe dope. Don't make it so awful tight the next guy can't get it out, but make sure it's tight enough it won't leak. And when you're turning on these fittings that are an internally flared fitting, either put the nut back in them or make sure you stay on the very outside of the fitting so you don't crush the fitting and have to get a new one. These aren't available at every hardware store. They're actually kind of hard to get. So we're going to turn this back on. We're going to see it pump up, and we're going to make sure we don't have any leaks.
Wait, start that again.
Did you hear that? I hope they heard it on camera. So when this shuts off, that did what it's supposed to do. You heard it go psh, and it took maybe 5-8 seconds, and it went from it took all the pressure in this pipe right here and drained it down to 0. When this compressor restarts, there's no pressure in this pipe. The pressure's held back right here at this check valve.
Is that hot?
Yes, it's hot, and I know better.
Just checking. There is another
and
tip.
I know better.
Another tip from the compressor guru.
So
Bud put his finger on something hot that he knew was hot.
So that's
And if you listen, I'm hoping it came out from before. You can't hear any.
this is the dryer functioning over
That's
here.
the dryer over there.
It's hard to concentrate with this dryer doing this. So when this machine pumped up, when it shut down, it went psh for like 5 to 8 seconds. And what it was doing was this valve, or this pressure switch has a valve, and it was draining the pressure in this tube down to 0. The pressure is stopped at this check valve right here, and all the pressure is in the tank, and there's nothing in this tube. This is done so that when the compressor restarts, it restarts easy, because it's not starting against 150 pounds of pressure right here. It has a chance to get spinning and fill this tube before it starts emptying into the tank. And so to review, a lot of times I get a call about a bad pressure switch. The pressure switch is leaking. The vast majority of the times the pressure switch is fine. It is the unloader on the pressure switch that is indicating we have a bad check valve. So the problem's actually here, but the symptoms at the pressure switch. I don't think we've been here a half hour. Super simple fix. I've been called by customers and they said, Bud, we had a leak in pressure switch, we changed it, and the next pressure switch leaks too, can you come out? And I know exactly what happened. They changed a perfectly good pressure switch and didn't know that the check valve is the reason to be doing this. I broke a safety rule. I didn't wait for all the air pressure to be out. I waited till we were down to about 40 pounds, and I knew what was going to happen. I was able to catch the valve when it blew out of the tank. Don't do that. It's dangerous. I shouldn't have done it, and I shouldn't have done it on camera. So this is the Compressor Guru. Thanks for checking this out. This is a bonus episode on how to diagnose and change a check valve on a air compressor. Bye.
Thank you for watching this episode of The Compressor Guru. Please hit like and subscribe and use the notify bell so you will know when the next new episode is released from The Compressor Guru. God bless you and have a great day.